Welcome back, parents, to another day of you going deeper on your path and journey towards greater consciousness. So, yesterday we talked about the acute importance of the parent accepting themselves and seeing how self acceptance really creates a foundation of a powerful connection with our children. Today, we're going to go to the other side of the coin of acceptance. Now, we're going to delve deeper into how we can better accept our children. Now, you may think that you already accept your children. Well, I'm going to teach you how to deeply accept them at the level not only of their behaviors or their moods or their feelings, but truly as individual, unique essences that are taking the shape or form as your children. So, what do I mean by that? Because we have children that look of a certain form, and because they come through us, we actually conceive and we actually give birth to them and we raise them day after day. This gives us an illusion that we own them, that they are ours. How can we not own them on some level, correct? I mean, we have been given the supreme task of taking care of them moment after moment. So quite naturally, this gives us a sense that they belong to us. Now, here is the double-edged sword. On one hand, we want to feel this unification, this oneness with our children. We want to feel the sense of belonging and oneness that comes from believing our children truly belong with us. But do they belong to us? Now, that's another whole set of ideas that we need to debunk. This idea that our children belong to us comes from this ownership, this sense of hierarchical possession that can really get in the way of accepting our children. You see, when we believe that they are ours, we believe that we need to mold them, that we need to shape them, that we need to make them who we desire them to be. Quite naturally, as with all things that we consider our own, our home, our car, our belongings, our shoes, we treat these possessions as our objects. And what do we do to objects? We objectify them. We begin to look at them as things that we can control and puppeteer and make and contort. And the danger of looking at our children as objects and objectifying them in any way is that we rob them of their unique, separate, idiosyncratic personalities. We fail to see them as separate beings, as unique essences on this journey of life with us, and instead we begin to fuse with them and begin to completely impose ourselves onto them. So this fusion is very different than this sense of unification. You see, a sense of unification understands that our children and we are on this path towards wholeness together. Fusion makes us rob our children of their unique, separate identity, and we do not accept them for a separate sense of self, but instead we believe we own them. So there's a big difference between fusing with our children and the sense of oneness. Very different. As Khalil Gibran, the famous poet, once said, our children, they are not our children. They are actually the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. Our children, they come through us, but not from us. And though they were with you, they don't belong to you. We are the bows and arrows from which our children, like living arrows, are set forth. So in order for us to truly understand what Gibran means by this beautiful message, it would require for us to truly separate from our possession over our children. Yes, they may bear our family name. Yes, they may be brought up in our traditions and our lineage. We don't have to abscond all of it. Sure, they can have some of that. We don't have to let go every tradition in the book. This is more about a philosophical and deeply spiritual shift we have to make in our belief system, that because they've kind of taken our name or because we raised them, now they are one of us. They belong to us. So let's make a shift. They are one with us. They belong with us, but we do not own them or possess them. So it is this acceptance of our children as separate, unique essences that truly will allow us to have our children live their own lives in their own right. Do you know, many of us parents truly believe that it is our right to know what is the best for our children. Do you believe it's your right to know what's best for your children? I certainly don't believe so anymore. In fact, I believe that it's our fear that dictates the sense of knowing what's right. Most of us don't know what's right. We just fear so much for our children that that's what dictates what we believe is right for our children. What's truly the best for our children is that they learn to honor and celebrate themselves as unique and distinct beings, separate from us, completely unrelated to our destiny and our desires. And when they ground themselves in that unique separateness, that is when our children begin to discover their authentic voice. And that's when they begin to manifest and unfold into their truest selves. Now, of course, in the child's early years, of course, we have to be there and take care of them. I'm not talking about giving up all caretaking of our children. I'm talking about the spiritual shift we have to make from within that shifts the entire energy between parent and child. It is a surrender to our children's natural sovereignty and divinity. And it is this that is the key to unlocking the absolute joys of conscious parenting. You know, when we release our control over our children and allow them to unfold in the way that they need to, what we're doing is demonstrating a very deep trust in their inner knowing. And you know how it feels like when people trust in your inner knowing? You immediately sense this immediate burst of worth. You immediately feel confident and empowered. Well, this is what your trust is going to give your children. So in order to emerge into a greater consciousness as parents, it is imperative that we are fully willing to accept our own unconsciousness and the many ways through which we subtly or not so subtly, conditionally accept our children. We need to move from a conditional acceptance of our children to an unequivocal, irrevocable, unconditional acceptance of our children as unique, sovereign beings in their own right. So one of the ways we get to test how much we honor our children as their own individual beings is when they defy us, when they argue with us, when they come up against us, when they dissent against us. Our instinct, according to the old paradigm of parenting, is to do what? Is to suffuse that, is to reprimand that, is to control that and get angry with that, threaten that into submission. So, if we truly want to emerge as parents who honor their children's unique sense of selves, then we need to allow our children to speak up against us. We need to allow them to question us, to even go against us. You know, we all want to raise strong and empowered adults, don't we? Well, how will our children grow into that adult if we don't allow them to experience their unique voices with us? So, please remember that one of the untold consequences of enmeshing with our children with this fusion and not separating ourselves to honor them as their own unique beings is that when they grow up and go out into the workforce or have different relationships, they will always seek for that fusion. They will always seek to be completing themselves through someone external or through something external. You see, because they've been so used to being dependent on you and having you be dependent on them, there's this toxic dependency, this codependency that gets created that will go along with your children into adulthood. So if you want your children to be in healthy relationships when they grow up, where they're not constantly striving for another to meet their inner needs, then it needs to begin here, right now, with your acceptance of them as completely distinct and separate from you. Now, of course, I completely understand how hard it is for us to separate from our children. You know, it brings up an immediate dread or fear because separation is scary for most of us, because this kind of autonomy feels lonely. It feels as if you don't care about your children. I'm asking you to separate from your children? That feels cold and uncaring. Well, the main reason we want to stay fused with our children is not because we love them. It's because we're afraid that they might suffer if we don't constantly micromanage them. We're afraid of their pain. So when we completely move into an inner space of trusting our children and seeing them as separate, empowered beings, it is then actually that we teach our children that we aren't afraid for them, that our love is unfettered by anxiety, that our belief in them is completely impervious to whether they're in pain or not. We believe that even if they are suffering, they have the resilience and the grit to go through it. This is what this healthy separation does for our children. It teaches them that they don't need us as a crutch, and more importantly, that we don't need them to fulfill our sense of safety or well-being. So for today's task, take out your journals. Let's do some reflection. So in today's reflection, I want you to contemplate and take this seriously, what it would feel like for you to completely accept that your children are not yours. That your children, yes, came through you, but they don't belong to you. That your children completely have an inner knowing about what their destiny is. How would that feel? How would that change the way you treat them? If you completely understood that your children, they know how they feel, they know what's good for them, they know how to manifest their truest self. What if you truly empowered yourself with that belief system? How would your parenting change? So take a few moments, reflect on this, read what you wrote, see if you can enter that new space away from possession and control and fusion to separation, autonomy, and the granting of sovereignty. So tomorrow we will be talking about the third transformative skill that I will be teaching you about, and I can't wait to have you begin that tomorrow. But before you go today, do not forget to take our mid-quest assessment. Yes, you are officially at the middle point of the quest. Taking this assessment will really allow you to see how far you have grown from the start of the quest. It will allow you to acknowledge all your wins. It will allow you to face some of your challenges. But most importantly, it will allow you to celebrate all that you were and all that you are becoming.